All in favor of?
Aye.
Aye. All
Kurt says
opposed? I know it. Okay. That passes. Yeah, my mind's on something else. Okay, I'd like to get I'd like to have a motion to consider the regular meetings minutes, February 6, 2017, April 3rd, 2017.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Okay, we got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay. Let's see. Non-actions. I guess first on the agenda, non-action items. Discussion of the 2017 Summers Program. Melinda, please.
Okay, and I gave everybody a copy of the flyer that I'll be posting and handing out this month for our registration information on our summer, I'm going to call it a summer day camp. It will be open for kids K through 5 from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday through Thursday. And then for 6 to 12 graders, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Thursday. And then I'll still have an open gym from 5 to 7. Just because I think the kids still want to come in and play in the gym and shoot around and stuff like that. We will be having more than just the regular arts and crafts. I have 4 different sessions. We'll have a baking session, baking cooking, a science session, a sports, a physical activity session, and then a craft session. So we'll have those 4 sessions, and then each week, each day I have something going on at 10. So on Mondays we'll have Zumba. We have a kid certified Zumba instructor that has volunteered to come in and teach them Zumba on Mondays. I have, on Tuesdays I have brought in several performers. So we'll have like a magician, we'll have some Explore Museum and the Science Spectrum, stuff like that the kids can enjoy for about an hour from 10 to 11. And then on Wednesdays, I was still working on that, details on that, but LaToya will be probably coming in and teaching some hip hop or something with the kids. And then Thursdays, the library will be coming in and doing more than just the reading. They'll include some STEM in there with our either science, technology, or something like that with their reading. That will also go into whatever our theme is for the week. So each week we will be studying a different state. That'll go with our Party in the USA theme. And so like we'll start out with Hawaii and learn all the things about Hawaii. And on Thursday we'll finish it up with a Hawaiian luau. We'll do stuff on Alaska and then finish it up with, you know, some big old Alaskan party here. And when we do New York, we want to finish it up with the fashion show. So it's going to be a little bit different, hopefully a lot more fun and more engaging for the kids.
Is the county extension office gonna do anything for you this year?
Yes, we haven't met yet, we've made arrangements, but I mean, she's talked to me about it and asked if she could come in, and I said yes, like she has been.
I know the kids always enjoy the different snacks stuff that she brought.
Yes, so, and then, since it will be till about 1:15, they will also be fed lunch through the lunch program, summer lunch program.
So most of that $25 sign-up fee is going to go towards their snacks and
The
whatever else?
entertainers and stuff like that.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah.
And how many summer help did you get?
I have 3, we hired 3 summer help in addition to what we have regularly, 2 part-timers and 3 full-time. And I have a youth council meeting Wednesday, which I will recruit our summer volunteer.
What is the age group you're doing youth council?
Youth council is all ages. I've opened it to all ages. Any of the kids that want to participate are welcome to. But this summer volunteers will be limited to 8th graders and up.
Okay, because the ordinance states that the youth council members shall be between the ages of 13 and 18.
Okay. There's a lot of the kids just want to be a part of something, so I've let them just come in and you know, they attend the meetings, they participate in whatever activities we have, and, you know, if they sit there and beg and beg and beg, want to be a part of it, so I've let them,
But you're only doing the 8th graders, you said, up?
for volunteer
For
summer,
volunteers,
yes.
okay. That was my concern, because my niece and nephew said they were gonna do it, and it's like, they're 9 and 11, and I don't know how they're gonna make a 12-year-old do what they're supposed to do, so.
Yeah,
That
and
was my
that's what I
concern.
get, a lot of these want to just.
Make them age fast.
And that's, you know, that's some of those that are like, we just want to be on the youth council, we want to be on the youth council, and I'm like, okay, well, let's be on the youth council, and so they like to participate in the meetings and any other little things that we have going on with them.
Okay, so that was my question on that.
Is there anything else on that discussion of the summer program? James?
But just, in order to make sure that Melinda can stay on top of things, we won't be having a board meeting in July, or June and July. And I don't know about August yet, because that would fall right after that last one, but we want to keep her down there and involved. And so unless anything that requires action on the part of the board needs to happen, we can count on we won't have one for the next 2 months, just to accommodate her schedule.
Okay, that's
Well, I know
good.
used to, we'd skipped August anyway, because school's starting and everything, through September.
So we are doing June, like 4 weeks in June, 4 weeks in July. The
And I
kids are,
noticed you changed it from Monday through Thursday instead of Monday through Friday.
yes, and the staff will be working 10-hour days to accommodate it being open later, so we'll be there 9 to 7. Oh, the youth council has also been asked to be a part of the 4th of July, and so we'll be running the Blizzard race, for sure.
Okay. Any further discussion on that? And I got something I would like to bring up. I've been a board member of the youth board here for the last couple of years or so. And as a board, I would like to know, what is our responsibilities as a board, as each board member. I mean, I've never really looked that up, but I would like to know, and I guess I should take it upon my own to look into it. But if maybe James or someone here as a board member has any idea as a board member what our responsibility really is.
Pulling that up right now.
Can I answer part of that? I've been on this board for how long now? And one of the things when it first started was pretty much us when the youth center was going, and then we had that hailstorm from years ago and messed up everything down at the center. And for several years, and I don't know exactly how long, but it was closed, and we had kids who were missing out. High school couldn't have dances up there, and prom and all this stuff was away from it. And that's made it really kind of hurt, because growing up here in Lovington, like a lot of you guys, remember the youth center being busy, and that was the hub of all Friday nights, everybody hanging out there. And we got away from it for several years. And then the youth center board members had a little bit of impact on it when Mr. Wise was the manager, about what needed to be fixed down there and all that stuff. And so slowly, I think where we wanted to be from years ago is the youth center being open for our kids, and not just from certain hours. It's utilized for several different things that it should be. And just today, I was in one of our schools, and I was visiting with some of the kids, and we're 6th graders. And I was asking how they liked it being open down there and all this stuff, and we love it, except for the person in charge down there. She's always looking at us. She's always looking around the corners and making sure we're not misbehaving. Make sure I say, well, what would you guys be doing? So, thanks for doing that. And that's got to be hard, so that's when you know you're doing the job, when the kids don't like you. But then the majority of them, they appreciate that. So I think we're where we wanted to be as a board. And me personally, speaking for myself, I think a lot of confidence in our city manager to pick the person to run the place. And I think for us is to support, the individual that's running it, and be there for support and keep things going the way they're going, and open it up. I know we have prom in there, and I didn't go to it, but Mr. Michael said,
I would just say thank you. for allowing us to do that. I know that that was part of the, traditionally, a number of years ago, that was the place where people went to prom. I had a lot of teachers that would tell me that, and we got away from it. And some of the initial concerns, because it was a change in getting away from the fair barns, was, well, it's too small. Well, they used to have it in there, and you had classes of about 200, and that's what you're looking at now. So, that's not an option for us this year because another event snuck in under the gun. So let's give it a shot. And we went. Not an issue, not a problem. Everybody enjoyed it. It was a great venue, and I think it helps get those high school kids back in there, just one more time, because I know that's one of the struggles that I think you've talked about before, is the older kids and the kind of their hesitancy in getting in there. So the more that we can get them there for other types of events, I think the more it might help. And I don't know if they had any issues.
I think one of the comments I heard was that, such a cool prom is just like in the movies. I guess because it's more smaller and just more, I don't know the theme or something, but that was one of the comments I thought was pretty cool. It's just like in the movies.
So I don't know if I answered your question, but I think we're headed in the right direction doing what we're doing. And,
You did?
I mean, people always say, that's why it's called a youth center. It's supposed to be for our youth, and slowly, and you brought in some other stuff for our kids to do. And I know a lot of individuals really like the summer programs, and what their kids are doing is something for them to continue and have a place to go where parents are working. And I mean, it's something that I think, on my part, is the best we can do is just support the best we can. Are we going to make mistakes? Heck yeah, we are. Okay, but you know what? I guess the best thing to do is learn from that and make sure it doesn't happen again. Thank you.
No, thank you for that.
Sorry, James.
No, really, that's, we're here as support, so. So in city code, it's actually 2.84. That's what established the youth center board back, it looks like 1966. So the administrative duties it lists says the youth center board shall elect one of its members chairman for a 1-year term. Create and fill other offices as required to execute the powers granted by this chapter. Hold at least one regular meeting each month. Keep a public record of its transactions, findings, resolutions, and determinations. And the last one is to submit a budget, which I know that traditionally that is run through our department head. And I know we didn't do it this time, but I believe that we had previously discussed looking at this ordinance or this code and making some changes like the monthly meetings. Here we are looking at, we've canceled a couple because we actually had no business to conduct. But that's one thing, just to clean up this language so that way, I guess more collaboration between the director and the board as far as setting the direction, and one of those ways that you do that is through planning the budget. So some of the other items that it lists as far as powers, fulfill and performance functions, promote a healthful and sound youth program for the city, adopt bylaws and prescribe such rules and regulations as are necessary, expedient and useful for the function of the youth center, request reports and information and data for the youth center. And then basically it says you cannot have the power to mortgage, pledge, or encumber property owned by the city or revenues.
Can't sell it.
I have an appointment with the bank tomorrow.
But, and of course, not have the power to enter any contract to purchase or sell. So it does mention an advisory committee, so it sounds like a board, but then this body has the ability to appoint an advisory committee composed of interested, this is old, you can really tell,
Yeah.
interested citizens to the city to advise and counsel the youth center board in the activities conducted and performed by the youth center. And then, of course, it mentions our youth advisory board. So really, this is something we probably really ought to look at, other entities that have a youth center board established by ordinance. That's usually the easiest thing to take a look at, how to revise it. in my opinion, and it's strictly my personal opinion, this body serves as an advisory and support, kind of like our Parks and Recreation Board does. If we have program changes, we use it as a forum to solicit public input on the direction of the facility that board's established. So that is clear?
It is clear, basically, you're
Okay.
getting in, Melinda is,
Correct.
directing us, and we're approving it. I do understand that part of it.
Okay.
But I see one thing in here that I think maybe, we may need to take out, and that's that election of that one-year term for chairman. I mean, do we actually, you said this was done in 1966. I think we were all probably babies or somewhere in that area.
Well,
Or how do you feel
Commissioner,
about
a lot of your bodies, you do need a chair simply to have the individual in charge to run the meeting.
that? Well, yeah, I do
So-
understand that, but.
The one-year term, I think is appropriate. I don't know how long ago, I really can't tell you how long ago you were elected by the body to serve as the chairperson.
Getting close to a year,
Close
isn't
to
it?
a year, I don't think it's
Yeah.
been a year yet.
Probably a year.
Yeah, I think probably about August maybe is a year.
I think you still got a year to go.
What, I think on our Parks Board, isn't it, did it have term limit on the chairman? I don't
It's a
remember.
good thought.
Well, is it a limit or is it just an election every year?
Well, it's just between us.
Right,
Just an appointment, basically.
You also need a vice chairman.
1 year, it is.
Is it 1 year?
The chairperson is a 1-year term for Parks and Rec as well. I believe actually the only one that does not have a specified term is it's the Planning and Zoning Board.
Don't have a term.
It does not have a term on the... Correct. It does not have a time on the chairperson or P&Z. That's just, I believe that is at the will of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Should a member want to have a new chair, they simply would have to call for a motion and to have that listed on the agenda, and then move to appoint or reappoint, and basically follow Robert's rules.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about anybody else, but my feeling is with this board and with the Parks Board, since we both have commissioners on it, I think the 4-year, if they're gonna be the chairman, then do it every 4 years, just like you would do. I know you do every 2 years with the commission, city commission, but that's because every 2 years you have an election. So I don't see that it really matters one way or the other.
No, I was just saying that, go ahead.
Now, if I may, if this is something that we want to consider as far as revising the code, the only thing that I would ask is that, and we can definitely get hard copies of this for you, we make all of the changes at once because we do have to advertise. And I would rather make all the changes at once rather than come back later. So this may be something to work on over the summer, to do some comparisons, what other municipalities do, and come back at our next meeting and definitely discuss it, if that's what the board would like to do.
The last two parts of it are talking about the kids having to pay a membership fee, and I think that needs to be taken out too. Okay.
I was rushing to get here and I just totally,
I smell crayons, I don't know why.
not me.
I hope there's not something medically wrong.
So I guess If anybody else don't have anything else on that, I guess we could just probably move on, or we can,
I'd like to see us research it over the summer and look at it fresh, maybe in August, and see what, because I look at it and I think, you know, this is really antiquated and makes no sense for today's times, and so we need to bring it up into this century. Not just this decade, but the century too.
We
And
may not have a meeting till September, according
Okay.
to
September,
depending on what August brings.
okay. Yeah, well, August is kind of a busy time with,
Parent
Parent rodeo and
I don't
school.
know if she's gonna keep continuing,
yeah,
you know, so.
so,
I
okay.
guess the next thing I should ask is we can make we're gonna have to put that on the.
It might be,
Be
I would
approved.
just list it as a discussion item
Yes.
for your next meeting. What we'll do is, I think I can print this from here. We'll print out some copies of this, so that way you have it to take home. And then honestly, the easiest thing to do is use Google. Google up other municipal codes. I don't know that that would actually be the easiest thing, because usually boards would be established through this, but just look at other policies and procedures that other youth center boards have. But as far as changing the ordinance, it may be, in this particular case, that this ordinance was modeled off another community, so it's just boilerplate language that was put in there, so.
1966, they didn't talk to nobody else.
Sure, they Googled it back then.
It's called an encyclopedia.
Wasn't there such thing as Google, they probably didn't know how to spell Google.
What's a Google?
Oh, God. Well, I guess if there's not any other further discussion on that, we can move on, unless anybody else has anything on it. I guess the next thing we can move on to is public comment.
What we done for the safety of the kids down at the youth center?
That is what one of the reasons why we added part-time staff. And that's really the extent of what we can do. We have our security cameras in place, of course, not only just to make sure that damage isn't occurring, but also when we are in the office, it is monitored. That way, if we could see something, there's going to be blind spots. But with the staff that we have down there, I know Melinda is working on looking for some additional training, sharing resources with other youth center programs that we have as well.
Do you have a problem with going down there at any time?
No, they do not. And actually, I believe Melinda actually had some of our officers come down there and just give a little talk to the kids the other day. So I know that's one of our primary, well, actually, that is the number one priority that we have down there, is to create a safe haven for children to come and learn.
You know, at one time they had a table there in the hallway that was manned. And you pretty well had to walk by that table to get into the youth center by someone that knew who should be going in. And I walked in there one day and wandering around, I was just checking things out, and I never was questioned about what I was doing until later. But there wasn't any check-in point or any visual contact with anybody that could stop me.
Is that something you think we should have, as far as when they enter?
We do have a sign-in table, which was being manned at first, and then it just got kind of lax as the same people were coming in. Parents, the kids pretty much know the parents that come in and pick up their kids. They know the people that come in and, for different things like that. So, I mean, I've looked at maybe, I'm researching an electronic check-in and check-out system for the kids and working on stuff like that. The Good Sam has offered to volunteer one of their residents to come and help with that table if we needed to. So, I mean, I've been looking at different ways to make it.
Oh, you're doing an excellent job down there, there's no doubt about that. But that is something that I think we should really have at all times, is someone at that door, being nosy, as I call it, putting their eyes on
Is
different people.
just the one, I mean, how many access doors do you have open down there at any given time?
3, 4?
Three. The main entrance off of O, the one off the parking, the two off the parking lot, right? And then maybe down at the gym or something? So,
The one at the gym is usually closed unless someone lets someone in through there, but usually they're coming in through there.
through one of the other 3 entrances.
Anyone else?
Also heard a complaint, that there was some pretty good bullying going on down there this past weekend.
Some bullying?
That some boys had threatened another boy and threatened to go get knives. Of course, that's.
Oh, that's an ongoing thing, I think, with the kids threatening, wanting to kick each other's butts. And so we were on top of that one. We knew it was going on. We were watching the boys and making sure they weren't going to do anything, keeping them separated. We kept an eye on them all night and it didn't turn into anything. I mean, that
It's
happens
hard to keep
everywhere.
up with. I know that.
But most of the time, one will come and tell us what's going on. And we will, keep a closer eye on them.
Mr. Lauren.
Hi. I just wanted to say a couple things. I'm kind of asked about what Mr. Price had asked about. I had mentioned one time about maybe an officer stopping by like once a day or something just to make an appearance down there. Did anyone talk to David about that happening? Is that something that they were agreeable with, or has that happened?
James?
Yes, that has. We've talked to David, and based on call demand, they make it a point to go by there at
Awesome.
least once a day and just do a walkthrough.
Cool. Was that before or since the arrest situation?
This has been going on for a couple of months.
Cool.
If they don't walk by, they'll at least drive by and the kids, know that they're around.
Well, I mean, and I wasn't meaning anything bad about that. I guess we all know about the situation that happened down there. My daughter went to the youth center up until that day, and she continues to go to the youth center because I don't feel like Melinda or her staff could have probably done a whole lot more than they did or were doing at the time. Stuff can happen anywhere. Bullying can happen anywhere. Fights can happen anywhere. I don't know. I think want to say I think Melinda's doing a great job, and my daughter goes there. She's 10. She's there right now, as a matter of fact, and she's probably heartbroken because the lady's not looking around the corner watching her. But anyway, I just want to say I really think Melinda's doing a great job, and I hope you guys continue to support her. She went from a place for several years that had nothing going on to what do we do with all these kids, and she's dealing with it. That can't be easy. I mean, I'm sure the schools have at least as many bullies, or I mean, not to pick on your comment or anything like that, but as the youth center has. So it's just something that she's got to learn to deal with, and the staff has to learn to deal with, and the city as a whole is having to. It's probably being pointed out more now that it's the youth center and it's something new to the whole community, and I appreciate Melinda for being down there and everything that she does, and just that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
And she does do a great job. And I know that brings a concern of mine, is, I know we've talked about it. Youth Center, Activity Center. We're going to really have to address that one day, because people are, asking, whether is it for the youth or is it for everybody? And that is a big concern. I really don't know what to do about it, so I'm going to leave it up to this board and up to James and Melinda, and we're going to see what direction we go.
When we were thinking about changing the name to Activity Center, there was some objection, and so I just took a poll of the people that came in that day, between the kids and the open gym. I think it was basketball that day. Took a poll of adults and kids coming in, and they all picked youth center because that's the way it's always been. it can, you know, I do activities for the adults, I do a Pinterest club, we have the open gym for the adults and things like that. I think the kids are the priority, but it is open to activities for adults because there's no other place for adults to go to.
I don't mind the kids being with the parents. My concern is young kids, or say anybody over 18 and older that comes in while the little kids are there, that don't have, they're not with their little brother or sister or cousin. They have no connection to anybody down there besides being down there to the gym to play or whatever. That's my concern. With the parents coming with their kids and the kids are playing, they're doing the Pinterest club and the jazzercise and stuff, I think that's a good situation. And I just wondered, is there any way to keep the gym, the older kids separated from the younger kids when they're there at the same time?
I've been working on this and it's been in effect actually since the beginning of the year. So there's gym time for the small kids, K through 5, from 3:30 to 5. From 5 to 6:30 is the older kids, and then from 6:30 and up, it's for the adults. And it's mainly Tuesday, when we have volleyball open gym, it's a family thing, and so the people bring their families in and the kids, and so when it's basketball, some of them bring their families and their kids, but that's when you have the majority of adults on Tuesday and Thursdays. And that's the time when we started closing the doors into the gym in the hallway so that the kids have no access to it. I've posted, I've had it posted for at least a couple of months that, this is the gym schedule. This is who's supposed to come and go at this time.
And I don't want to know any names, but was it a part-time employee or was it a full-time employee that told the person to leave and that he didn't leave?
She was full-time.
Full-time. Okay. Now, my next question is, have you told her what she should do if something like that happens again?
She did the right thing.
Well, my understanding from what I've read was that they asked for them to leave, they didn't leave. That should be, if you're having a problem with somebody and they don't leave, call the PD.
He left that night when she was asked. He came back the next Thursday, and he left. When I asked him, he left and he came back, until I finally called the cops. So he kept coming back while I was there.
Okay. Well,
And that was a whole other day, but when she asked him to leave, and she had help from some of the male employees, and he left right away when they asked him to that night.
Well, and like I know your part-time are younger, and I don't know if they would know that, if they give me problems, I should call police.
Yes, they do. They are aware that they call police, and they need to.
And we did discuss that locked door situation. I'll let James tell you, it's just a safety issue. We've got to have the doors left like they are due to fire, bomb threats, anything like that. So you'll just have to, the signs are great, and I know all the kids can read, adults can read too, or I say they can.
They just don't like to.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things.
I wanted to go back to the summer programs. You had said you were going to allow 100 kids in.
Yes.
Are you still doing that?
Yes.
Okay. I spoke with a couple of teacher friends and kind of explained the environment, the building, the outer building, and how many kids coming and going. And they suggested that you needed at least one adult or volunteer for every 10 kids.
So my plans are to have them divided into 25, because I have 4 different sections. And so then there will be either a part-time or full-time with them, and some volunteers with them.
Okay.
If I may,
Yes, sir.
increasing staffing is not
I know.
an
I
option.
know. I'm trying to make sure that everybody stays safe.
No, I agree.
And something else I didn't ask you, is the LACES going to do anything?
I have not heard from Laces.
Have you tried to contact them?
I wasn't aware I was supposed
well, I don't know.
Feel better?
I just know that I know they always were down there, and they usually have about 6 or 8 kids. So, and usually they sit down between 3 and 4 people, depending on what the day was.
So that's available if they want to come in.
Okay, any other discussion? But I still want to assure, you got to smile, you're doing a great job. Don't look depressed over there. You know, you're looking kind of down. There's nothing, keep your head up, smile, doing a super job. I might even drop in and act like I'm a kid one day, I never know.
Don't want to stay.
But you are doing a super job down there.
I would like you to go ahead and contact Lexus and see if they're still interested in doing it, because I know those kids really need that, and they've really enjoyed it when they were down
They
there.
will
And the
get the
school,
same
I think the
information.
school pays for those teachers, I
They're for
think.
their aid, yes.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Any other comments on this? There's no further discussions on anything.